188, 1097.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Alright, so I have concerns. So, I have this arrest report, and it says that per DCF provided information. So, I spoke with Deputy Parker and videotaped my entire interaction at the home, and there was no domestic violence situation, and a firearm never got brought into the home. So I'm not understanding why DCF provided that information. I reached out to them, and they told me that they would be unable to tell me until I do a public information request. But I was advised by a friend that's an attorney up in Massachusetts that if somebody gave false information to law enforcement, then police report needs to be made and an investigation needs to be done.
Absolutely. However, as DCF probably told you, that's anonymous, whoever made that report. Now, your arrest, from what I was told on the way out here, was not valid.
Yeah, and this is where, and I lost my $100,000 a year job because of it. So,
yeah, so for some reason, okay, this is what I understand. I know it says Deputy DeWitt's the one that effected the arrest here.
It was actually Lieutenant
Rader?
Mike Rader, yes.
He's the one that took you into custody?
Well, he was the one that showed up with a paper saying I was a convicted felon, and when I told him I was not, he assured me I was and told him to place me in custody.
Yeah, so I've been informed on my way out here, because apparently this was all looked into, that your criminal history was incorrect.
Yeah.
Your arrest was invalid, and the state attorney's office has been contacted to drop all this.
Oh, it's already been dropped.
Yeah.
But my concern is that
Somebody called and
somebody said something that was non-factual,
Yeah.
and so here's my story, and I've already talked to DCF about it. On Wednesday, I verbally requested from Deputy Peak and Bea Batchelor a copy of the safety plan. They told me that they would provide me one. They did not.
what do you mean, a DCF safety plan? Okay. Yeah.
And then on Thursday,
DCF should have gave you that.
Oh, it gets better.
Okay.
So on Thursday, I found somewhere where I could stay for a few days while everything was worked out. They did all their stuff. And the person where I was supposed to stay at 1:47 p.m. was emailed a copy of the safety plan.
Okay.
I requested in the morning and in the afternoon from DCF via email and text a copy of the safety plan. Bea Batchelor with DCF told me that I personally had to reach out to the sheriff's office and do not return to the residence without a deputy. I feel that with her level of experience, and the deputy explained to me that DCF would have provided me a copy of the safety plan.
Should have, yeah.
I would go to the courthouse, I would get a civil standby order done, and then I would return with the deputy to get my possessions. Because DCF never provided me a copy of the safety plan, they couldn't do anything. So I feel that the DCF investigator, willfully and intentionally withheld the safety plan from me to trigger a police response, and then provided information, whether through from her own reasoning or provided by my spouse that was non-factual. So somewhere along the line, something weird happened that should not have, in my opinion.
Well, your arrest shouldn't have happened. I can tell you that much. Your criminal history, I don't know who fudged that up. We don't handle that.
I can tell you what happened.
Okay.
So I got picked up for a felony in 2005.
Okay.
It was the first time I'd ever been in trouble in my entire life. The judge in Monroe County told me, if you don't care about being a felon, I'll let you do 60 days in county and you'll be a convicted felon. If you do not want to be a felon and you're willing to do my drug program, then I will.
Sure, we have that here.
Yeah. So I did 2 years of probation. I did 16 weeks of group drug treatment. I did 400 hours community service, $2,000 in restitution. I did all this stuff, completed my probation. So in 2009, they were serving a warrant for a failure to appear for a ticket from my roommate. And this was in Key West, and the deputy that came out said, "You're a convicted felon." I go, "Whoa, I'm not." like I did probation just so I wouldn't be convicted. Like,
This was after you'd done all the probation.
yeah,
right?
this was in 2009. It was misfiled on October 3rd of 2005 by the clerk of the court in Monroe County.
Okay.
On November 6th, 2009, I went in front of the judge. He said, I explained the situation. He sent me down to the clerk. She gave me everything, was like, oh, no, you're not convicted. They updated it in their database on November 6th, 2009, saying I was not a convicted felon. I brought that to the judge. He vacated the arrest, or vacated the citation, said, we're so sorry, you're fine. So, and I've had a bunch of guns, never been an issue. Like, I've had Kansas City, Missouri Police Department confiscated one of my firearms pending an investigation, and then returned it to me. And they asked me about the 2009 thing, and they double checked and said, you're fine, and returned my weapon to me. There was no issues. So I went to buy a new judge because I couldn't find a used one, because I hate buying new guns because they're freaking expensive, and they lose 30% of value as soon as you take them out of the store. And so I got one at the pawn shop, did the background check, and I failed. And it said I was currently under indictment, which I didn't understand. I reached out to Missouri. They said it was a mistake and that the case had been closed, like there wasn't evidence. Great. Monroe County, I reached out to them and they said, you're not convicted. I don't know why it would say that. Email me what you need. I said, I'll get to it here in a few weeks. It's not important at this time. I'm like, it's just so I can buy a new gun. I went back to the pawn shop to collect my deposit, and I brought all my paperwork to the guy. He goes, oh, you're fine. So what it's saying is, until you get this fixed with the FBI, you can't buy a new gun. But you don't have to surrender any of your firearms, and you're okay to possess them. You're not a convicted felon.
Sure.
And then somebody told DCF and the Sheriff's Department I was a convicted felon based on that failed background check without any further insight or further investigation. And then I got arrested.
Well, somebody failed to remove it from your criminal history. Because when we run a criminal history on somebody, it goes, a lot of people are not originally from here, so if you're from, let's say, Monroe County, wherever.
Well,
it's
and
going,
so
you know.
then I got two things. I'll show you on the pretrial assessment.
So this is your first appearance.
Yeah, I went and got copies of everything.
Right.
Just because.
Pretrial conditions, that's standard within arrest, so risk assessment, probation.
Here it goes, the back one. So when they did my risk assessment for arresting me for being a convicted felon, their assessment showed that I had no other felonies. So I don't understand how when they did a risk assessment for me being a convicted felon, they were able to show that I wasn't a convicted felon.
Yeah, so our agency doesn't understand that either. Is what I was told on the way out here.
And
our agency is
so there's
a complete misunderstanding.
I'm so confused with how this all happened.
I'd be more confused. I'd be pissed. However, that situation, as far as with our CHI
but that's just
on
background.
Sure. It's being rectified with the state attorney, as you probably know.
FDLE sent me the email saying they updated my criminal history today.
And I believe our captain,
Watkins,
yes, he was made aware of it. He's the one that let us know, hey, this is being dropped. This is not valid. The deputies did make the arrest, acting on good faith wanted to climb. On what was in the CHI, however, that shouldn't have been in your CHI.
And I did tell him that I was not a convicted felon.
Right.
And he said, you are.
Yeah, so he was going off the CHI, your criminal history, which is what we go off of.
And
so
then,
a lot of people will tell us, you got to think, we deal with people all the time, they're like, no, that's false. Well, we have a database that isn't perfect.
A lot of people lie.
Yes. Sure.
I deal with, I change my AC filter every month.
Sure.
Hey, this one's from 97.
Sure. So that's why we pull this up and we're like, okay, this says you are. This is what we're going off of. And as you can see, the system ain't perfect because it failed you. However, if you think that DCF, do you have an attorney?
Nobody will take my case. I have reached out to 50-something attorneys since Friday of last week. Nobody's willing to take on DCF or the Board of County Commissioners.
Have you reached out to any civil litigation attorneys?
Honestly, there was I can't remember the guy's name. He's out of Niceville. He told me point blank, no one's going to take your case here. Like, no one's going to go up against DCF. We got to deal with them every day. No one's going to want to deal with it. I'm sorry it happened, but you're not going to find an attorney in the state of Florida that's going to do anything to help you. Which was nice that he was upfront about it, but...
Well, that's also incorrect information because they're obligated by law to take on a case if there's any merit to it. Now, whether I couldn't tell you what the outcome of that case would be, right?
And they could say, in my professional opinion, I don't feel like the case had merit because I would be on it. Like, there's a lot of gray in that.
A lot.
And it's just the reason I called you all is because somebody made that statement. I've got the video. It's like 2 gigabytes from when I started before I got out of my van. Kept it on me as I went to the house, got my personal effects, and it's on until I'm pulling out of the driveway.
Okay. So you've made a public records request, right? For that.
I've got
For
the body
the DCF.
for DCF. I've got to set up an account and go through their website to get that public record.
Because we won't be able to give you that because we don't even know who made that tip, who made that call. As far as your criminal history, as far as your arrest,
well,
all day, that's not good.
But just because of the per information provided by DCF, that means DCF had to reach out to the sheriff's department specifically about this arrest.
For DCF. Let me see here. So
that's why it's weird.
I conducted an investigative stop on a 2018 Chevy work truck. Only occupant per DCF provided information. Again, we wouldn't be able to look into who provided that information to DCF. That's a public records request. So I don't know where that came from or what incident it spurred from. I know I was here several weeks ago.
Is what they're saying.
From that night?
Yeah, and this is my concern.
Well, that's all been documented in a report. I mean, I don't understand. Yeah, that's gonna. What's her name? Bea
Batchelor. I have a business card.
Oh, I got her intake report with all her information's on the report that I did for that night. So you're gonna have to file a complaint on, which is your right to. I'm not gonna say you have to. I'm saying if you wish.
If I feel like I need to, then
yes.
Then.
And then file a public
I know you
request.
can't give me any legal advice.
Sure can't. So that's why I'm saying, like, I can't. You can. You have the right to do this. You have the right to do that. I can't tell you what you can and can't do.
Your best option is this, no, because that violates your stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can only give you. I can give you options, but I can't
tell you which one
to take.
You can't tell me what you would do in the situation.
Right. I find that to be kind of outrageous if attorneys are telling you that. Like, I mean, even as a law enforcement officer, I find that outrageous.
I was just glad someone finally told me because I kept calling and kept following up, and I was sending all these emails like, "Hey, this is what happened."
Have you looked at attorneys outside Okaloosa County?
I've reached out to 3 attorneys in Montgomery, 2 in Birmingham, 1 in Tuscaloosa, 2 in Auburn, 3 in Atlanta, and I'm just waiting for them to get back to me.
Okay.
They've had me fill out a big questionnaire, and then I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, because if Florida's telling you that, Florida attorneys, then, whew, I digress. I can't get it.
It's not a great situation for me.
All right. Per DCF provided information, a domestic incident occurred at the defendant's residence involving a firearm and it just departed. So when I was here before, that was for a DCF follow-up, not regarding a domestic with a firearm. That was regarding, I think...
And there wasn't a domestic with a firearm.
That was a follow-up as far as children and all that stuff go. So that wasn't the one I was out here for. Okay. Positive identified. Questions about the present firearm. Produced the firearm without hesitation. Unloaded. Secured. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll give you this. Obviously, that's yours. So that's the best thing I can tell you is reach outside of. If Okaloosa County in Florida is telling you that is beyond my knowledge of why. Although I'm just a lowly deputy and they're whatever, I find that to be a little outrageous. However, whatever the reasons are, I would make them explain it to you. I mean, got to give you a reason.
Now, as far as somebody,
I guess they don't if they're private attorneys. They can just they don't have to take it. But have you reached out to a public defender?
They told me that I make too much. Well, that was before I was officially fired. So now that I'm unemployed, I might actually be. Yeah.
Yes. That's what I would do. Since and it's unfortunate your situation. I would reach out to your job, let them know what's going on. Let them know that this is all bunk. Hey, kitty.
So here's the deal.
I have to get you.
I work for Remco. Well, I worked for Remco, and our parent company is Smart Care.
Okay.
The VP of Remco came down. He's very affectionate.
Oh no, I got a bunch of cats, so
Um,
I definitely understand.
Leave alone. Leave alone. So he said, like, I know 3/4 you guys carry on the job. I'm carrying right now. The issue is because you were arrested in a company vehicle in uniform with a firearm, you can't work here.
But the arrest is invalid. The arrest is direct filed and dismissed.
I was arrested in a company vehicle and the van was towed because I had a firearm in the vehicle illegally. I have negatively impacted the reputation and image of the organization.
Is that part of their policy and procedure? You can't have a firearm in the vehicle or something?
The SmartCare, no. Remco, they don't care. But because we got bought by SmartCare, yep. He said, if you hadn't been arrested for it, it wouldn't have mattered. It doesn't, but you got arrested for having a gun, you can't work here. Yeah.
Again, it's outrageous because, especially with the new laws passed about concealed carry in the state of Florida. Hey, kitty, I really don't want to. I feel like I'm going to hurt you every time I grab you.
He's a hunter. I've got a little video of him trying to take down an armadillo. It's kind of funny.
Well, at least he's
fearless,
acting on his instincts. Yeah, with the laws of firearms, like I said, I just find that kind of crazy. I don't run that company, just like I don't run the attorneys that are telling you this and this and this. There's really nothing personally I can do as a deputy as far as finding out who reported that to DCF, because that's all anonymous. And
well,
it's
no,
anonymous
and I just
for
want a report that false information was provided.
Yeah, I'm going to document all that. And plus, on top of that, the arrest number is in my call referencing this incident, and I'm going to put in there, and it's known. I mean, the state attorney's already been told, drop it. We've already been told, hey, this is what happened, but it's invalid because of a faulty criminal history inquiry. And I don't know who input that and decided not to take that out of your criminal history. It's whoever created it. So, I know, you just want to climb. I know. So, yeah, whoever did that is going to be at fault for leaving that in there without taking it out, causing you to be subject to arrest.
Well, so Monroe County said that their records show that it was fully updated on November 6th of 2009. And then FDLE, their records are saying that it was still a valid conviction until today at 11:45 a.m.
Yeah, I don't know what time. Like I said, when I got the call to come out here, I was just, dispatch told me, hey, call in, we got further on this. I'm like, okay, I don't even know what's going on. And
it's a complete cluster.
Yes.
It is a total cluster.
That's when they told
me,
hey, he was arrested. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I know it sucks, but I got to get
no,
the
it's fine.
documentation.
It's fine. And I'll give you, sorry, I ran out of business cards, so I can give you my call number. But yeah, they told me, hey, this is what happened, and this is what's going on, and mistake in the system caused him to be arrested, not a valid arrest. Of course, putting it on the deputies, I can't do that because they're just acting on good faith of what they have in our system. It's whoever decided to update your criminal history inquiry or not update it, I should say, failed to update it. Failed to update it.
And that was, and it just was confusing to me because, like, I had the same thing happen.
Hold on. 188. What's my CAD number? Can you read off my CAD number, please? I know if you're getting out.
Like, as long as you don't.
All right, my 5s look like S's, so that's a 5-4, not a S4. So that can be included with your paper trail. Yeah, this is just a big cluster, and it's resulted in some unfortunate things for you, and I apologize for that. I don't know what's going on with your company, because, like I said, we have passed a new law in the state of Florida. If you're not a convicted felon and you meet all the requirements of carrying a concealed weapon, then you can have a weapon in your vehicle. You can possess a firearm because you're not a convicted felon. I'm kind of blown away by that, but again, I don't run that company. I didn't write their policy procedures.
And Jason, he was the VP. Like, we've worked together for 6 years. He's like, man, I'm sorry. I know it sucks, but like,
Are they at least giving you some recommendations somewhere?
Oh yeah, there'll still be a reference for me. I'm a commercial food equipment guy. Like, I'll probably start looking for a job Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'll probably get 2 or 3 offers by Friday or Monday.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's still unfortunate that you lost one, but
I worked my way up to being the field lead in the area. I mean,
Yeah.
it was so like Tom Thumb thinks of me as the face of Remco, and now the managers are passing around my mugshot for being a convicted felon.
but you're not. So that's
But I got a picture on the website saying I'm a convicted felon.
that's gonna have to be rectified. I mean, it's gonna have to be.
It's, just, it's not ideal. All I can do is move forward.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I started doing AA a year ago, and then I'm going to therapy and going to church.
Sure.
That's the only reason I'm this calm. Like,
Sure.
I know that everything's going to work itself out. I
And
just
it will.
got to
It
talk
will.
to the people and explain the situation, and it'll be fine.
Sure.
Like,
Eventually, it'll work itself out. Right now, it's a little bit of a, like you said, a cluster.
don't.
So I'm gonna go start doing some stuff in that call in reference to that. You got that? You got that piece of paper?
Yeah, I'm going to put it in my file with all the stuff
So
going on.
keep everything for.
Yeah, I'm waiting
whoever-
for the hard copy of the certified records from the row
Right.
saying that I'm not convicted, and they're going to stay on me until the day I die now.
Yes, and then also,
Kelsey.
obviously, to document when you get that. If you file a public information request through DCF to find out who's reporting what, and because, like I said, the call I was out here for several weeks ago with B was not for that. It was for something. She was investigating something totally different. So I don't know what they're talking about or what that's in reference to. I don't even know what call that's in reference to. I can tell you that much.
There's a lot. And DCF hasn't been super forthcoming with...
And they won't be forthcoming with information.
Stop.
Because they have that anonymous stuff for a reason, because they don't want retaliation. However, there is that Freedom of Information Act that you can request that stuff, which you need to do, because it's already gotten out of hand. So we need to try to get it back into normalcy.
And then, I know this has nothing to do with you guys. I'm a type 1 diabetic, and the jail refused insulin for 15 hours for me, knowing my blood sugar was over 250.
You can also contact state attorney about that.
I have, and I was told that it would be the Okaloosa County
Board of Commissioners.
Board of Commissioners
Yeah.
or Board.
BOCC.
They oversee the jail, and they apologized and told me if I expect them to do anything, have a lawyer reach out to them.
And they also have Board of County Commissioner meetings, so you need to look up when that is, and then you can go.
I did not know that.
Yes, they have meetings and they have open forum where you can go speak your problems. You have a paper trail, so they'll open the floor for questions or comments, concerns, and you can address your comments and concerns and say, hey, this in reference to this, falsely. My criminal history was jacked up. I was arrested. That's been taken care of. However, the jail did this, this, and this, failed to do this, this, and this. And then it's on the record with the Board of County Commissioners in an open forum. There's no getting around that. Okay? They have to document notes and all that good stuff.
It's there.
And then you can also request those records.
Thank you for all the information. I appreciate it.
Like I said, it sucks the situation you're in, but at least I can point you in some directions. Okay?
I never imagined that any of this would happen, and trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
I've spent more time trying to figure out what to do than doing anything to rectify it.
Yeah.
Just because there's
Well, you've already filed for what you need to. Like I said, you need to, I don't know when they have the meetings, but you can look it up on the Okaloosa County website. When their next Board of County Commissioner meeting is, you may have to go all the way to Fort Walton, where they do it at the old courthouse.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Sometimes they do it up here. I don't know how often, but they'll have all that information on the website. And that, like I said, they'll address concerns, and then they'll have an open forum, and you can come up there and boom, this is what's going on. Your jail failed to do this, this, and this, and like I said, that's all documented as well. Okay.
I will pull that up and make sure to be there the next one.
Okay. Well, I'll go document that those concerns in the call. Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right,
I appreciate it.
I'd shake your hand, but you got
I'm trying to keep it from
ruthless there.
jumping on you.
I got you. I appreciate it. Have a good day, sir.